Hello, my name is Caitlin Otto, and today I will be talking about inclusive language in the workplace. An employee is allowed to eat his lunch in the break room. An employee is allowed to eat their lunch in the break room. While the difference between these two sentences is just one word, this can make all the difference between including or excluding a coworker in the workplace. The use and education of inclusive language will help improve inclusion, relationships, and overall work environment in a professional workplace. In this speech, I will discuss what inclusive language is, what it is not, and the importance and relevance of using inclusive language in the workplace. I will start my speech by giving you a definition of what inclusive language is. Inclusive language is defined as language that is free from words, phrases, or tones that reflect prejudice, stereotypes, or discriminatory views of particular people or groups. It is also language that does not deliberately or inadvertently exclude people from being seen as part of a group. The Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development says that, quote, promoting and supporting diversity in the workplace is an important aspect of good people management. It's about valuing everyone in the organization as an individual. However, to reap the benefits of a diverse workplace, it is vital to have an inclusive environment where everyone feels able to participate and achieve their potential, end quote. In the workplace, employees talk to each other every single day, and the language that they exchange can be the difference between including or excluding a person. And that difference can be made with only sometimes one word. Every single person is affected by inclusive language because every person can fall into a category that diversifies themselves from other people or other coworkers. These categories include race, gender or lack of gender, sex, sexual orientation, region, opinions, religion, and many, many more. A population in the United States that is directly affected by one type of inclusive language is the transgender population. Here is a graph of the transgender population in the United States from 2007 to 2015, and you can see in the graph that it has increased significantly. While the population of the transgender population in the United States is only 0.005 as of 2015, this population is directly affected by the use of gender pronouns. Male gender pronouns include he, him, and his. Female gender pronouns include she, her, and hers. And non-gender pronouns include they, them, and theirs. The states in the United States that have laws protecting discrimination against sexual orientation or gender identity. As you can see, there are only 14 out of 50 states that are highlighted, which shows that this problem is not being addressed, which is why it is so important and relevant. The article I chose was called When Distance is Good, a Constructual Level Perspective on Perceptives of Inclusive International Language Use. This article discussed how not many research or studies have been done on the use of inclusive language, which is probably a reason why not many professionals in the workplace know about it or aware of it or use it in the workplace. The researchers found in the article that inclusive language is important for the well-being and for the overall environment in the workplace. They also found that employees who are more physically involved in the company are more willing to use and be educated about inclusive language, as opposed to people in the workplace who are more physically distant in the company. The people who are more physically distant in the company tend to feel that learning about inclusive language and taking the time to use it is not efficient and a waste of their time. Whereas employees who are more physically involved in the company have good relationships with their coworkers and are willing to take the extra mile to include all of their coworkers in the use of their language. For inclusive language to be regularly used, positive changes need to happen regarding workroom policies and national laws. For example, In June of 2017, our nation's capital, the District of Columbia, started offering a third choice on driver's license and ID cards. Instead of just having two options to choose between gender, male and female, they now offered a third option, which is option X, for individuals who do not fit gender normals. Positive changes like these need to happen to include all people in the workplace. I have a few comparisons to show you exactly what I mean for do's and don'ts and the difference between inclusive language and exclusive language. We hired an Asian employee to the new management role. We hired an employee to the management role. By taking out the word Asian, we identify this new employee as a human instead of a race. An employee may ask his manager for sick leave. An employee may ask their manager for sick leave. By changing the word his to their, we include all types of genders or lack of genders instead of just the male gender. Honey, darling, dear. Instead of saying these words that may put a connotation of adornment on an individual, use their name instead to show them respect. Spokesman, policeman. Instead, you use spokesperson or police officer to include all types of gender or lack of gender. When I worked as an intern the past 2 summers in a law firm, I dealt with attorneys and with a lot of their old attorney files that were found in the archives. While looking through these files, I noticed a lot of the times that they would use the phrasing or the male pronouns to phrase their sentences. For instance, an employee may eat his lunch in the break room. When I was looking at these documents, I always thought to myself that it should include his or her. Little did I realize that they should actually be using the pronouns their instead to include all types of genders or individuals who do not fit into the gender norms. I've learned in this project that inclusive language includes a lot more than just pronouns. When I first started researching inclusive language, I thought that inclusive language was just to make sure that we were using the correct pronouns for individuals. But really it is a lot more than that. Inclusive language wants to include all types of walks of life and all different types of categories that people can fall into. These categories, like I mentioned earlier, include religion, nationality, gender, sexual orientation, and many more. This information will help me in my future career to make sure that I am including and valuing and respecting all of my fellow coworkers in the workplace. Human Resources just hired a German to fill the new position. Human Resources just filled the new position. By taking away the word German, we identify the new employee that the Human Resources just hired as an individual instead of identifying them as a nationality. Thank you.